Hey, I'm Chris Peterson. Welcome to Checkup Prep, your informational video series based on your child's well visit. Probably not a conversation we should be having here at the library. So let's do this. You watch the disclaimer clip, I'll meet you back at the office. Perfect. See you there. While I am a board-certified pediatrician licensed to practice medicine in the state of New Hampshire, this video is meant to be informational only, not an attempt to practice medicine, nor to be diagnostic. It is meant to be used in conjunction with your child's well care visits.
Hey, welcome to your 15-month checkup prep visit. Let's talk about our 15-month-old baby. First of all, let's start off talking about foods. So now at 15 months of age, we want to start eating together as a family. We want to give your child what you are eating as well. So at dinner time, if you've made chicken, rice, and peas, give your toddler, chicken, rice, and peas. And if they don't want to eat it, it's okay. Don't be adversarial. Just say, if you don't want to eat it, that's okay. Get down. But if you come back to me and say, I'm hungry, then I'm going to give you your chicken, rice, and peas again. If we allow them to push away the chicken, rice, and peas and give them something we know they'll eat, yogurt or something like that, we're just fostering them to be picky. I know it's hard. People will say to me, Chris, I'm worried they'll go hungry. If they were hungry, they would eat. One of the hardest things to do, but I think it's important, is to feed your toddler good things when they're hungry. As adults, we look forward to our next meal. I'm already looking forward to the next time I eat. And I eat more with my brain than I eat with my stomach. I like pasta. And so I may eat more of that pasta just because of the way it feels going down. Toddlers don't do that. Toddlers only eat when they're hungry. When their tummy says, feed me, they eat. And so listen to them. Let them guide that. It's very easy to get onto the all Cheetos diet. All he'll eat is Cheetos, so I keep giving him Cheetos. Avoid that by giving your child good things. I'm hungry. Here's some raisins. You don't want raisins? All right, well, let me know when they're done and I'll give you something else, some applesauce or some plain yogurt. I think those are the keys to making sure we try to have a non-picky child. There definitely are some children that have very sensitive mouths. And so this isn't standard for everybody, but it works for most children to just give them that boundary of, you got to eat this before you get to the next step. 24 ounces of whole milk a day is about what we want. Again, the whole milk is important. It has the fatty acids for brain growth and development. It's got calcium. It's got most of the vitamin D, but not all. So a vitamin D supplement is going to be important. 24 ounces of milk will give them about 300 international units of vitamin D. Their recommended daily allowance is 600. So a vitamin D supplement to give them a little bit more. Typically, vitamin supplements, the liquid ones, are about 400. So they'd be at 7, but that's okay, a little bit more. But making sure they're getting that vitamin D supplement because they're only getting about half of what they should be. Proteins, your toddler is not growing a lot right now, so they don't need a lot of proteins. When they were 6 months of age, their growth curve was really steep. They'd eat anything that you gave them. But now their growth rate is really starting to flatten out. So there are going to be days where they eat a lot and days where they're just not hungry. Again, respect that. Listen to that. Don't make it adversarial. When you do feed them proteins, make sure it's lean protein. I know I said whole milk, and that's important, but chickens and fish, plant-based proteins, eggs, and dairy, those are the things that we would think about as lean proteins. Fruits and vegetables through the day, whole grains through the day, and limiting the added sugar. This is going to sound like common sense, but we know through studies that if you give young children sugar early, they want more later in life. If we just keep it away from them, they don't know it exists, and they don't want as much later in life. So really being conscious of the sugar content that you're giving them. Children should get less than 25 grams of sugar a day. That's not very much. So being really conscious of how much you're giving them in a day. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about development. 15 months of age, they should be pointing at things they want. They should have 3 to 5 words. Now those words may be just understandable by you, but that's okay. We don't expect it to be perfect phonics at 15 months of age. Just 3 to 5 consistent verbal symbols for consistent material things or actions. We expect them to understand simple directions. Go get your coat. Get me the cow book. Those kinds of things where they understand what you're saying to them. They should be walking independently at this point, being able to climb upstairs, maybe 1 foot at a time, but being able to go upstairs. Fine motor, they should be starting to use a spoon. Does not need to be good. They may actually scoop up and it fall off, or they may take the spoon and put foods on it and then put it into their mouth. They just should be starting to use a tool. It is what separates us from the other primates. They should be able to stack blocks on top of each other, 2 blocks, 1, 2, and drinking from a cup. Socially, they should be giving you hugs, listening to stories, pointing at things, grunting. I oftentimes think of 15-month-olds as little cave people. They're grunting and pointing out what they want in life. Soon enough, they'll come out of the cave, but they are just little cave people there. Let's talk about safety. Home environment. Tap water less than 120, 125 gives you a hot shower but keeps them from getting scalded. Smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors in the home, keeping everybody safe. Avoiding secondhand smoke. Making sure they're not getting to hot beverages or cigarettes or small objects that they can choke on, plastic bags, those kinds of things around the house. Making sure poisons, matches, medicines, weapons, knives are all secure and away from them. Sunscreen is okay, trying to avoid the sun, but sunscreen is okay. Avoiding bugs, but bug spray is also okay. Lower your crib mattress down. Now that they're able to get up and move around, you don't want them tumbling out or decreasing the risk of getting a leg up and getting out of the crib. Make sure we recheck childproofing. Again, with them being so mobile, risks of pulling things down on top of themselves, bookshelves or TV entertainment centers, those kinds of things where they can climb up, weight them and pull them down. What looks like a set of shelves to you and I looks like a ladder to them that they can climb right up, have it tumble onto them. So we want to avoid that risk. From a car safety standpoint, we still need them in that rear-facing car seat until 2 years of age. So we got a little bit longer to go. I know their legs may be bent up, but we want to make sure that they're in that rear-facing 5-point back seat being the safest place to keep them as safe as we can. Let's talk about oral health. Brush your child's teeth using a little bit of a fluorinated toothpaste. Check on your fluoride in your community. If you have a well or if you have municipal water, check to see if there's fluoride in it. And if you need a fluoride supplement, talk to your provider. And make your first dental appointment if you haven't already. This isn't going to be a deep cleaning situation, but getting your child used to sitting in the chair, getting their teeth cleaned is a reasonable step for good oral health later in life. Activities your child's going to like, they're still going to be loved to be held and cuddled. They're really snuggly at this age and can show really good affection. Read together, read interactively, spend time playing with your child interactively. Listen to them. Make sure that you're paying attention to what they want so that they are, and giving them respect so that they will give you respect later in life. Teaching your child how to deal with anger and frustration. Those are emotions that are going to come to them. 15 months of age is a time where they start to have some temper tantrums. And I think letting them have that temper tantrum, not getting involved in it, saying things like, I'm sorry you want the cell phone, but you can't have it right now. They flop themselves down and they're crying and screaming, saying to them, I'm sorry that no is upsetting, but what you're doing right now doesn't change no. When you're all set, pulled back together, come find me and I'll give you some more love. And then when it's over, making sure we're reassuring them, telling them that we love them, telling them they did a good job getting through it on their own to try to reinforce that self-settling behavior. We definitely want to avoid aggressive behaviors. We don't want biting, we don't want hitting, we don't want pinching. So again, thinking about them as little cave people, this is how we communicated back in the caves, right? We hit each other because we didn't have verbal expression. They only have 3 to 5 words, I agree, but we don't want them to learn that aggression is the way that we get our point across. So I would have few but consistent rules around the house, and I would use timeouts at this age. So maybe you have 3 to 5 things that are timeoutable. Using a chair turned into the corner, I think, is very appropriate. Don't use the crib, don't use their room. Those are places that are supposed to be safe and good. A chair, everybody has a chair. Everybody has a corner. So turning a chair into a corner, sitting them in the chair. The idea is that they're supposed to be isolated, not long. 10 to 15 seconds is all we want this to be. It doesn't need to be a long ordeal. I do not believe in a minute per age. 10 to 15 seconds is a reasonable amount of time. And telling them why they're going into timeout as they go in, and telling them why they were in timeout afterwards, and then giving them love once we're out. So, Joey hits. Joey, we don't hit in this family. It hurts me when you hit. Every time you hit, you're going to get a timeout. Scoop them up, put them into the seat, expect them to sit there. They're supposed to cry. If jail was a good place, we'd all want to be there. So they're supposed to cry during timeout. After it's done, 10, 15 seconds, Joey, every time you hit, you're going to get a timeout. I'm sorry that you hit, but it hurts me. Let's go play together. It may be, after all of that, your child looks at you and whacks you again. And that's a time for you to say, I'm sorry, we don't hit in this family. It hurts me when you hit. Every time you hit, you're going to get a timeout. You scoop them back up and you put them back in. They're challenging you. They want to know how strong are these boundaries. And as we put up strong boundaries around them, they'll learn this is where I am. So that when they're 15, the risk is going to be much later. They've already learned where those boundaries are way before. So I think timeouts are really an appropriate way to try to manage those negative behaviors. Of course, we want to praise their good behaviors. Behavioralists would say 3 to 5 times as much positive as we're giving negative. You give 10 timeouts through the day, you need to give 30 to 50 praises through the day. You know, good looking out the window, nice putting on your shoes, good choosing a book, whatever it is through the day that they're doing positively, we want to make sure that we're giving them that positive feedback. The idea of, I don't want to do the negative thing because I get time out, I want to do the positive thing because I get praise for that. Timeouts are hard, but I think they're important for you for later, setting what the boundaries and expectations will be. Finally, genital exploration. Expect it, especially with boys. It's okay. It's not sexual. It's just them exploring their bodies. It's an okay thing. Make sure you're taking time for yourself, making sure you're taking time for your spouse. You guys are an important relationship in your child's life, so trying to keep that as fresh as we can so we can keep it going as long as you can. Your child needs you guys together, for sure. Making sure we're still trying to model good ways of handling the world. Frustration, anger, how do we interact with each other? How do we resolve conflict in relationships? Those are all things that your 15-month-old is definitely watching. So making sure you're modeling good behaviors, because you are the coolest thing in the whole wide world to your child. And you will be for another 10 years anyways. Enjoy your kid. Thanks for joining us here at Checkup Prep. Stay centered, stay balanced. We'll see you next time.